Okay, let's just jump right into this. What we're talking about today, it's not just another new gadget or app. This is bigger. We're talking about a blueprint for survival, seriously. A kind of technological arc designed to carry the most important parts of our civilization through, well, pretty much anything.
I mean, really think about that for a second. What does happen? This question cuts right to the core of the problem, doesn't it? How do we make sure everything we've built as a civilization actually survives when it's all so concentrated and, frankly, so fragile?
It's like this, ticking time bomb. All of our most precious stuff, our knowledge, our technology, our financial records, it's mostly just sitting in these centralized places. And to keep it safe, we can't just keep patching the old system. We need something totally different, something that's built to be tough from the ground up. Okay, so that's the problem. How do we fix it? How do we actually build this arc? Well, the answer lies in a technology that completely changes how we think about trust. And that technology is blockchain. This definition here, it really nails it. Blockchain isn't just some tech buzzword. It's a whole new way of building things to last. Think of it like a network where a bunch of peers, that's the P2P part, all have to agree on what's true before it gets written down. And once it's written, cryptography basically locks it in stone. And the most important part, no single person, no single company is in charge. Nobody.
So you might be wondering, how does that actually work? Well, imagine you want to make a transaction. A block gets created for it. This block is then shouted out to the entire network. Every computer on the network, we call them nodes, takes a look and checks it. If they all give it the thumbs up, then it gets added to the chain. And boom, you have a permanent, verified record. The trust doesn't come from a bank or a government, it comes from everyone agreeing.
And this is why you hear people say blockchain is immutable, that it can't be changed. See, each block is cryptographically changed to the one before it. So if you wanted to go back and mess with, say, block 102, you'd have to change not just that one, but also 103, 104, and every single block that came after it. And you'd have to do it all before the network adds the next block, which happens all the time. It's practically impossible. It really is like a digital time capsule that you just can't crack open.
So, here's the bottom line. Look at the difference. We're going from the old way, one central server, one single point of failure, super easy to attack, controlled by one boss, to this new, decentralized network. It's spread out. There's no single weak spot. If one computer goes offline, who cares? The network just keeps on chugging along. This is the big change. This is what makes our arc ready for the flood.
All right, so we've built the arc. It's strong, it's resilient. Now, what do we put on it? What's the most precious cargo we need to save? Well, the first thing has to be our collective knowledge. You know, our entire legacy as a civilization.
Just think about that. Every major scientific blueprint, every incredible piece of digital art, all of our greatest stories and books, saved, preserved in a way that nobody can just delete or change or censor. We're talking about making sure our greatest achievements can outlive any single company, any single government, any single server.
Now, I know what you might be thinking when you hear NFT, but let's just forget all the hype and craziness for a second. At its very core, an NFT, specifically this ERC 721 type, is just a digital certificate of ownership. That's it. It's a way to prove, without a doubt, who owns a specific, unique digital thing, and that proof is locked in forever. So how does this all work in practice? It's a common misconception that the giant art file is stored on the blockchain. It's not. The file itself, the art, the music, the blueprint, lives on something like IPFS, which is kind of like a distributed internet, where everyone helps host the files. The NFT is the thing that lives on the blockchain, and it acts like a permanent, unbreakable deed that points to that file. It says, hey, this file belongs to this person. You can sell it, you can transfer it, but the entire history of who owned it is there for everyone to see, forever. And, you know, for the really, really important stuff, we can crank up the security even more. We can use something called a multi-signature contract, or multisig for short. It basically means you need more than one person to approve any action. It's like a nuclear launch key system for our digital assets. You need multiple people to turn their keys at the same time. It's the ultimate and collective secure decision-making. Okay, so we've packed up our history and our culture, but this arc isn't just about saving what we have. It's also about carrying the seeds for a new future. And that brings us to the second type of cargo, the blueprint for a whole new kind of economy.
So if NFTs, the ERC-721s, are for one-of-a-kind things, then ERC-20 tokens are for things where one is the same as another, like a dollar bill. This standard is basically a recipe for creating your own digital money on the Ethereum blockchain, money that doesn't need a central bank. In a worst-case scenario, this is how you could reboot trade and commerce from scratch.
This chart kind of lays it all out. On one side, you've got your ERC-20s. Think of them as your coins, your cash. They're fungible. On the other side, you have ERC-721s, your unique collectibles, your art. But then you get these cool hybrids like ERC-1155. It's a game changer because it can handle both in one go. Imagine a video game. You could have 10,000 identical healing potions, that's the fungible part, and one single legendary sword, that's the non-fungible part, all managed by the same smart contract. Super efficient.
So it's really important to see that these tokens aren't just things to buy and sell. They're the Lego bricks. Developers can take these bricks and build what are called dApps, or decentralized applications. They look and feel like the apps on your phone, but the engine running underneath is the blockchain, not some company's server. And with these dApps, you can rebuild, well, pretty much any financial service you can think of.
And that brings us to the most important part of this whole thing. Because ultimately, this isn't about code or cryptography. It's about the people who are going to use it to build. It's about you.
Look, learning this stuff isn't just about getting a new job or a career change, it's bigger than that. It's about getting the skills to be an architect of what comes next. It's about grabbing the toolbox that will let us rebuild our most important systems so they're more transparent, more resilient, just better.
So for anyone out there who's thinking, I want to build this, here's your roadmap. You start with the fundamentals. Get to know the Ethereum blockchain inside and out. Then you learn the language, which is usually Solidity. That's how you write the smart contracts, the rules of the system. Then you'll need something like Web3.js to actually build the front end, the part people see and click on. And finally, you master those token standards we just talked about so you can create real digital value.
So I'm going to leave you with this one thought. We're facing a pretty uncertain future, right? But this technology gives us the tools, a blueprint, really, to build that arc we talked about. So if I handed that blueprint to you right now, what would you build first? What part of our world, our knowledge, our art, our way of doing business would you save and rebuild?